every single one of us has a unique, like, print of a gift that we're meant to share in this life. We all are given gifts. Who actually goes out there and, like, not only wants to discover their gift within, but, like, shares the gift and does everything it takes to share that gift.
Violet Mileva, welcome to Produce Your Passion.
Thank you so much, Sam, for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, no, it's really great to have you here. We met each other, but we didn't really get a chance to connect fully. We were at the Gula World event, what was that, a few weeks ago, or however long it was. And I did look up your stuff, and yeah, you have a lot of cool stuff going on. So for my purposes and the audience purposes, can you just give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name's Violet, and I'm a cosmetic chemist. I'm an innovator. I've been in the beauty industry since 2009, and I love helping people discover and fall in love with their divine given beauty. So I've devoted my entire life to helping people do that. And, feeling beautiful is a birthright. And there's a lot of people that are silently suffering with their self-image. And the self-image isn't just in terms of, like, vanity, but it's what we believe we deserve in this world. So, like Deion Sanders said, look good, feel good, you play good, they pay good, and you thank God for it, right? So I just want to help people discover that God-given beauty, that divine-given beauty. And I do that through the access point of the skin. So as a cosmetic chemist, the people that have these wounded outer shells, whether it's autoimmune, eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, acne, or premature aging, when it's wounded, people tend to hide and not be able to embody their full identity and have everything they want because they feel in some capacity that they're not enough because they have this visible wounding and compared to other people who don't have that. So although I work with the skin and I do love the skin, it gives me, that access point to those deeper inner layers to help people heal from various conditions so they can be their maximum potential in this life. And that's what I've devoted my life to, whether I do it one by one or I do it, but I'm going to reach at least 4 million people in this lifetime. So I'm very thankful for this mission.
Well, first of all, that's incredible. Congrats to you. And I have to shout you out for the Deion Sanders shout out. That's I love Coach Prime. So that's pretty cool. My follow-up question is, so where did this journey start for you? How did you get this idea when you had this idea and felt this passion to fulfill this purpose? What made you take action? Like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, so my journey has been full of so many stories. So the way that my Produce My Passion started is to summarize what I do. So I have a company called Champione, and we blend ancient remedies that have been used by ascended masters and prophets and have been proven in various case studies and trials backed by science to create incredible results for healing. And we combine it with microcurrent technology, which is this right here, bioelectric technology. And we marry the two to heal the skin indefinitely and help people love themselves and reclaim their glow. And this journey started when I was in 2009. I was a makeup artist at the time. I was in high school, and I loved that initial satisfaction of helping people feel really beautiful about themselves. And so I missed my own prom in 12th grade because I was doing like 8 girls' hair and makeup for $50 a pop. And I was like, okay, I finished that night, $500 in my pocket. I'm like, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And my parents were like, we did not bring you here to be like a makeup artist, right? So I was like, oh, so I went after that to work at Give Kids the World Foundation. And it was a foundation with kids who were diagnosed with a terminal illness, and it was a place where there was a beauty parlor, and there was like castles and train stations. It was like a Make-A-Wish Foundation basically, and I worked at the beauty parlor there, and I love the satisfaction of painting these kids' faces and seeing how happy they were and getting them ready for the day. And after being there for a long time and painting their faces, I turned the product one day and I realized that there was toxicity in these products. There was parabens and glycols and aluminum and talc. And some of these kids had really open sores on their face. They're already were affected and wounded. And I was like, wow, I'm just giving them this temporary illusion of wellness or greatness. And I was like, I don't want to work on this side anymore. I want to actually work on the side that's creating the formulation and revolutionize the makeup industry. So this was 2012. Beyond that, that was the initial like, okay, I want to start this, produce my passion. And I met this woman there at the center, and she's like, you should go to the school, Florida State University. They allow you to do product development in the grad school program. My daughter, she developed this in her lab class. She developed this sustainable fabric, and now she's doing so amazing. She's in New York, and she has so many people buying her products. And so immediately before I even went into college, I felt like I was being supported from every single angle, that this is what my purpose was to do. And beyond that, just to backtrack a little bit, when I first came to the United States, I came here and I was in middle school, and I was wearing very different clothes. I was I guess wearing like velvet pants. I'm never gonna forget them, with striped patterns, and everybody was like in their athletic basketball era phase. And I was very different. I already had my growth spurt. I went in through my puberty. So I felt like I was an oddball out, and my skin was clear at this point, just for the story. Every single day I would go into middle school in sixth grade, I was getting bullied. People were trying to fight me after school. And this form of rejection turned into me being my greatest supporter and my greatest like best friend at that time. But also it created acne in my face. So in my face, on my body, and I had acne way into my late 20s, until I discovered a solution to help myself heal from various conditions. So it turned into not only from me silently suffering and knowing what it feels like to not be accepted and to not be loved for who I am, it turned into, okay, now how can when I figured out how to solve it for myself, and when I figured out how to accept myself and love myself, when I healed and in the process of healing, I was like, okay, I want to do this for other people, because I know how bad it feels to feel like this, and to feel like, you're picking your face as a form of coping mechanism, as a form of as a form of therapeutic therapy, whether it's skin picking, whether it's people, there's like, I have nervous habits that are, picking their hairs or scratching themselves or cutting themselves, whatever the coping mechanism is of not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy. I was like, okay, this is the area that I really want to focus on making a difference in this part of the world. So then I was able to read it whenever I was going to university and creating the formula. I was mainly, again, working with the makeup. And so as I was wearing a makeup and I was a makeup artist, I was using like, you probably don't know all of these brands, but a lot of the people, maybe the listeners will, and it's MAC or like Neutrogena or all of these products I was using, like Chanel, that are mainstream and quite pricey. They weren't actually like, they were just stage makeup. So it's like going on stage, covering up, has great like stay properties. but not necessarily like helping my skin heal. So no matter what I was doing, I couldn't find a solution. So I wanted to create a makeup that was medicinal, that was healing the skin as we wear it. So I innovated a skin saver, and it's 5 products in one, made simple so you don't need to spend so much time getting ready. And it's a sunscreen, moisturizer, sun protection, anti-aging cream, and cover up all in one. And it heals your skin, it has natural salicylic acid in it, so that my skin was getting healed as I was covering up and concealing what was my weakness and what was hurting me. So that's what I wanted to help other people do. And that was the first product that I innovated. And again, it's those ancient resins, and the ways the ancient resins like cedar, dragon's blood, Peru balsam, and all these incredible resins, my grandma was using them on me. So the ingredients were sort of like where I come from in Bulgaria, where I'm born. Being one with nature is the way of life. So we're familiar with the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. And I'm born in the region of the land of the roses called Rose Valley. So I grew up with my grandparents planting like fields of sunflowers and roses and having the solution in their backyard for earaches and any kind of like bee stings and any wounds that I may have. So I just took what I was already used and effective that I've seen. And I was like, okay, let me do some research. Let me do some testing. Then I did case studies in school. We did double placebo case studies, and it was proven to work. And I'm very thankful to have found a solution. And now my job is to bottle it up with integrity and share it with as many people as possible. So I'm contributing to helping people live with the least amount of toxins in their life as possible. Because through our hygiene and personal care products, which include skincare, cosmetics, shampoo, conditioner, soap, that's a really big area of toxin buildup, as well as like what's in the air already, the pollution, the air we breathe, as well as like the food we consume. So to eliminate the toxins is one of the greatest ways to help people heal, and then to have something that they can apply topically and to make it bioavailable, which is with the microcurrent, is one of the closest ways that have helped me heal, and we've helped thousands of people heal from these conditions. So that's how it started.
That's amazing. Thank you for that breakdown. And I just have to uh, chip in some of my personal experience. I had severe acne growing up, and you are completely right. Like no, like when you have that, yeah, like you're just self confidence and your esteem just like hits the floor, like you. So I can relate
Yeah.
like what yourself and your clients go through. And when you've tried medications, when you've tried all these mainstream skincare things and they don't work, I can only imagine the joy like when you came across this. Like, oh my gosh, I found something. This actually worked. Not only did this work for me, but I can help other people with this.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing is like, and then there's people that are like just like you, like who have had these stories of acne. And of course, going through puberty and having acne is one thing, but then not being able to heal and identifying as like, oh, I'm going to live with acne or acne scars forever. Or even just like aging, like, why do I look older than my friends? And why do I have, like eczema all over my body? I don't feel confident in a bikini, or I don't feel good going to sleep next to my partner because I feel self-conscious. And I know probably just like you, like now that I'm healed and I'm feeling good and I'm healthy, I can look at people in the eyes and I can feel comfortable in my skin and happy with who I am. And I'm not hiding behind bangs or, hiding just in general and embodying my full self. And that's what we're all here to do. It's like, how can you ever produce your passion if you're starting from this wounded place? And it's like, your shell is wounded. So it's not like you're going to go out there and, you know, figure out how to impact the world when you can barely help yourself. So that's why it starts with the self, and then we can expand into the macro when we've already, feel at least a good starting point within ourselves. And that's what I'm here to support. And sometimes it doesn't mean it's an easy journey. Like you're saying, like we tried everything. We tried Accutane. We tried Proactive. We tried over the counter. We went to dermatologists. We've gotten prescription medication. I went even to the extent of like my dad's like put rubbing alcohol. It's gonna kill the bacteria, and it's like that was just adding to the difficulty. And mind you, like my family, we were eating good. I wasn't just eating like Cheetos. Like we come from Bulgaria where we all ate organic. So even though I was eating organic like food, I still was in healing. So that's why like with Champione, we combine mind, body, skin healing. But whenever people experience all of these uh, opportunities to buy a solution, it's like, okay, here's a solution, here's a solution. And in the beginning, we're like, give me, I'll take it, I'll try anything. But then when it doesn't work, what happens to the person? They become jaded, they become suspicious. So when I come in trying to help, it doesn't mean it's easy because people are already like have a lot of walls and barriers and they're closed. And then I have to break down all of those walls so I can be like, hey, I know that you've been deceived in the past or it didn't work, but like, try this. You haven't tried this yet. So I think that is something, is the biggest thing dealing with a human to human interaction is just trusting. But it's like anything in business, right? Whether it's in business, whether it's in healing ourselves, we have to create trust to be able to grow, because just like I'm sure to build something alone is much more challenging than to build it like with a team. And to help people heal, like, yeah, you can help yourself heal, of course, but it's much easier when you have other people supporting you in your healing journey too.
Well said. And you led me right to my next question, which this is awesome what you've built, but I'm sure this wasn't easy. I'm sure there's been obstacles along the way. Could you share some of the biggest obstacles you've encountered while building this company? And how did you overcome those?
Yeah, so obstacles have been plenty. So first of all, let's say like when I first started, I was feeling extremely supported. I was having the entire law department in the university support me. My chairman supported me. She even almost provoked me a little bit. She's like, if you don't start this business, I'll take it from you. And I was like, oh, okay, I have gold. I have a gold mine. So I knew that I was so I knew that I was onto something, and it was really like, and at that time, I think the first challenge was, telling my family that starting a business, like, of course, when you come as an immigrant from immigrant parents, I had at that time an opportunity to be a researcher at the university. So, it would have been like, I don't know, a $60,000 salary a year. And they're like, yes, this is the American dream. This is what it's all about. But I'm like, no, I know I need to start this company. Like, I feel like everything has led me to this point to create this. And, even that, just pivoting and having to convince even my own family that it's okay, this is safe, like, I got this. But it feels like a very scary stepping stone when you follow your dreams and when you actually produce from an idea, concept to a physical creation. Like that step is such a leap of faith, and it requires so much courage. So that alone, and not necessarily having the backing of people that have never walked in that footsteps in a new country. So that was one. But then once I did that, then it started off being financial. So I just graduated, I just got my master's, then I specialized in organic skincare formulation. So gladly, there was a lot of scholarships that I had, but I still had to pay from the schooling. So financial. So I started just going to markets all over town, but I'm like, this isn't going to get me a store. And at that time, it was 2016. The pinnacle of success was having a brick and mortar shop. So I was like, okay, you need a brick and mortar shop. I need to pay rent. So what I did was I got this opportunity to become a gemologist and work on cruise ships. And I raised capital for my business. I did 3 years of doing that. And then after that, I drove cross country. I got this opportunity. They were trying to diversify the Third Street Promenade here in Santa Monica because it was full of big box retailers, and they wanted to diversify, which, much smaller businesses. And that was 2019. And so they offered me this opportunity. It was a shorter lease. And I said yes. I had the capital. I raised 3 years of capital on cruise ships, and I drove cross country. So the first financial was like, okay, I have a financial challenge. What am I going to do? Find how to build capital. So I didn't bring on investors. I think that I didn't have the, how do we say, like the structure or the blueprint that, this is the ways that you build a business. I was like, okay, I was taught never to borrow money that isn't yours. So I I went to build the money myself to be able to fund my dream. So that was that solution. Then shortly after I came to California, it was great. I remember I counted 10 seconds and I would be seeing like 20 people pass by. This was 2019. The promenade was very busy, very active. There was people from all over the world coming, doing great business. I was like, wow, I'm living my dream. I am on the beach. Like, I can go have lunch and like see the ocean, and I have my store. Like, I'm in California. Like, this is a dream to come true. Then COVID hit, and then Black Lives Matter happened, and that shut down. And I was like, wow, what am I going to do now? Like, this was unexpected. I never imagined this to happen. So I went to Hawaii, and I just shut down, and my partner at the time, and I figured out, okay, what am I going to do? I learned how to stock trade. I built a new product. I wrote a book, and I was like, okay, help me go online. So I had my partner, he helped me build my website. So at the time, it wasn't like, I guess it wasn't very popular at the time to have like an online shop. It was more like having a store. That's the pinnacle of success. So I've just had to learn how to pivot, because that was challenging. Okay, pivot. Like, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is the end of me. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought I did all of these things, and no, so I just had to learn how to like pivot. So he built me this beautiful online website, and I was like, okay, now it's time for me to get the same business that I was doing on the promenade on my website. So I hired interns, and they spread the message of, writing to publications, writing to news articles. And then I was featured. My business was featured in different publications. So I was just trying to figure out, like, how am I going to create awareness? Okay, I have this online shop. I don't have a lot of people going on it. How can I make it popular? So that was the financial aspect of it. And then after that, I learned how to, like, fast forward to today. Now we're doing as equal of business, if not more than what we were doing on the Third Street Promenade. So I'm very grateful to that, but it did take some pivoting, and it did take some, there was obviously like a lot of technical difficulties of like building the website and it being fully functionable. So that was the financial. So I would say emotional. There's a lot of, like, I don't want to say sacrifices, but I think that they are compromises that we have to make as business owners, and believing in your mission so much that you're willing to not stay out extra at that birthday party, or, not actually like be sitting at the beach every single day, even though it's so close and I have access to it, because I'm building something that requires, daily feeding and daily devotion. And that momentum is really important. And I realized that the days that I didn't invest there, I can see that there's a decline. So I think the momentum is really important, and emotional also, like having to keep my relationships. Like, I've definitely had to make a lot of different sacrifices because my partner was living overseas and I was creating this business here in California. So there was a lot of like interpersonal relationship compromises I've had to make for this business to flourish, which, I've had to do my own fair share of forgiving myself for, but ultimately, like, I know that I've helped so many people, and it's worth every single blood, sweat, and tears that have been into this. And it's just a devotion to the people that are healing. It's a devotion to the creator. It's a devotion to all of the versions of me that came to this point that never gave up. So it's all worth it when I look back. But in those moments, yes, there were really tough decisions I had to make about how I'm going to live with my partner, because we lived very far apart. And then I would also say physical, because I have a lab in Ontario, and there's times where I've had to work really long days, like during formulation day, like I was telling you earlier, like sometimes there's 14-hour days and I'm just like rushing on my hands and feet, and like it's a lot. Like I'm bottling, I'm labeling. There's times where I don't have like a lab assistant and I just do it all myself and I knock it out. There's times where, I've had to not get a lot of sleep because I'm going to these events and I'm sharing the medicine with new people. So I'm going to all these events like back to back to back. And people are always like, how do you do it? Like, how do you stand on your feet? And I always also wear like heels sometimes. They're like, how do you do it? Like, how are you not tired? And I think to myself, and I'm like, if I start thinking like, wow, poor me, like I'm working all this time, then I'm actually never going to motivate myself to continue doing it next week. In my mind, I'm like, wow, like I reached all these people. And I think for me, it's really worth it when people like understand the medicine, they appreciate it, they want to learn, they're curious, they have that childlike curiosity to understand what is here and why it's important and why did I think it was important to create it. But when there are times where maybe people are, closed, like we talked about earlier, like they're closed, they're not open, and I'm just trying to break through all these barriers, that feels more tiring for me than actually sitting on my feet for 12, 15 hours, because I can take that. But I think having that open spirit from a person is the greatest gift somebody can give to me and to others. And so, yeah, and I would say in the last, again, is like that energetic is, there's people who I've given a lot. I didn't understand the extent of giving before. I was like, oh, I know that I'm a boundless being and I can give, give, give. And there's times where I had to just learn how to protect my own frequency so that I'm not draining my cup and then not able to serve in the highest capacity of myself.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was, I have to give you a round of applause. What a perfect breakdown of so many different obstacles and how you overcame them. I have to go back to the very first, one of the first ones you said about when you get out of college and you have this salary job that's just sitting there. And on paper and logically, for most people, it's like, oh, well, yeah, here it is. Here's my security net. Here's my safety. Here's I'm going to pay my bills. But it sounds like, man, that passion was burning so much inside of you for that business. You just had to do it. And I would argue that is one of probably the main things that prevents most people from producing their passion, is just that whole mental game of, well, this really isn't the safe bet. I should probably go do the safe thing over there. So kudos to you, even at fresh getting out of college, to have that awareness to make that decision. I think that's really cool.
Thank you. Yes, I think in terms of everybody that's listening here on your podcast for producing their own passion, I think that if you have something in your heart, like every single one of us has a unique like print of a gift that we're meant to share in this life. And, I would say like we all are given gifts. And I think it's not important to me. It's not so special about the gifts we've been given. It's more special of like who actually goes out there and like not only wants to discover their gift within, but like shares the gift and does everything it takes to share that gift. It doesn't mean it looks pretty. I was much prettier and I was covered in diamonds. Like that was a much luxurious lifestyle when I was working on cruise ships and all of that. This one takes a lot more effort. but it's also much more fulfilling knowing that I get to do what I love every single day. So I think that if you have all of your like your full devotion, you're ready to take action, you're willing to not give up, I think the resources and the opportunities and the people will naturally show up because you've decided that no matter what, you're choosing to go this direction. You're not willing to give up. You're willing to see the signs. You're willing to have awareness. You're willing to reevaluate when things don't work out and not become a victim to the situation. I think that I don't think, I know that the resources, the people, and the opportunities will show up. And if things don't work out, like you can always pivot. What's the worst that can happen? You fail. At least you tried, right? It's like, hey, I think for me personally, if I had just the regret of knowing like, well, what would it have been like if I did do that? And what would it have been like if I followed my dreams? Then I would have been so mad at myself for not actually like betting on myself, because like, oh, I can bet on other people. I can bet on the stock market and I can go to Vegas and bet on red, but why would I not bet on myself? So I think taking like, if you have a burning passion project in your heart, go with it with all your means. Like whether even if you're still working at a 9 to 5 job that's funding your passion project, great. Like do it, but you're willing to work the hours after instead of like resting and watching your favorite Netflix show, or like going and doing the thing that is in your heart that like is uniquely yours, and that you're having this desire to share the gift. I truly believe it will be supported. And so that's what I would have to say about that.
Absolutely. And I have to acknowledge too, like you talking about how you worked for 3 years to build capital for what you wanted to do. We live in a microwave society now where everyone wants it instantly. They want it overnight. They don't want to put in the work. So I'm really glad you told that part of it too. 3 years. So but it shows me that you just had extreme focus and certainty in what it is you wanted to do. You were working. I think when passion and purpose, those two P's combine, I think it's unstoppable. I think when you get those, when you have not only does someone have a passion for something, but they're fulfilling this deep purpose, not only for themselves and others, it's going to be very hard to stop that movement or individual. So kudos to you. And even like you talking about, the not watching Netflix late at night, how it can affect relationships. This lifestyle isn't for everybody. So I think you painted a really good picture of that journey, and you've already kind of dove into the next segment, which is for those people watching and listening to this and they're inspired, like, man, I want to do what Violet did. I have an idea for this. I want to do it, but they're not doing it for whatever reason. What could you say to that person? I know you already kind of touched on it a little bit, but what would you say to that person who's tuning in and they feel that passion, but for whatever reason, they're not pulling the trigger?
Well, I would tell them that, one, there was nobody else like you. If you don't share your gift, nobody else can create what you were placed on this earth to create. And as long as you are breathing, and as long as you are living another day, then there's still something for you to share. And whether it's to support someone else's dream, that's also okay. Like you could be a part of someone else's dream and produce their passion, or you could produce your own passion. As long as you're so passionate that you wake up and excited to do it every day, I think that's the most important thing, is to have like figuring out what that is and spending time, every morning you wake up, like asking the creator or asking your higher self, like, what is it that is mine to create? Like spending time with that question to figure that out, I think is ultimately step one. And then every day, like, don't be sad if you're not getting answers yet or frustrated. Just every day spend that time asking yourself, and different images and different emotions and different words will come up, and even thoughts. And then from there, you have kind of an idea of what you want to create. And then slowly it'll start to be more and more clear, that picture. And then I would say, at least, like, there was a really great book I read called No Excuses by, I think, Brian Tracy. And that book is amazing. I recommend every single person read it. It's one of my favorite books. It's called No Excuses. It motivates me a lot. It motivated me a lot. Um, so that book talks about like spending, it breaks down the day. It breaks down our 24-hour days. So we spend like 5 hours working, 8 hours sleeping, 3 hours commuting. But it also said to spend 2 hours. So you have even all out of all that 5 hours working, 3 hours commuting, um, 8 hours sleeping, we still have an additional 5 hours of rest time. So even in those 5 hours of rest time, whether you're exercising, whatever you're doing, you can spend 2 of those hours mastering that you love something that you love, meaning like you're like every day I'm spending researching of like the top trending longevity research and different innovations that come out. To me, like I want to be current with that, and I want to know about how we can expand our lifespan, not in this way where we're just constantly obsessed with it, but in a way that we can live and feel our best and radiate this divine essence that's within us. And I want to help everybody glow. So I find different studies on that, and that's just what I'm obsessed with mastering. But you can have your own thing that you're mastering and spending that 2 hours every day. And let's say it's not 2 hours for you. Like, let's say you want to start with 1 hour or whatever, but dedicate to an hour that you know is reasonable, that you won't fall off from. Because then if you don't do it that one day, you will be disappointed. So if you start with 5 minutes, it's better than nothing at all. So start with 5 minutes and go up. So you're not like mad at yourself for not fulfilling it every single day. But definitely like invest and give it feeding every single day, because I have a garden, and if you don't water the flowers outside that is blazing hot sun, the flowers or my plants or my vegetables, like I have tomatoes, they're so water thirsty, like they literally wilt if I don't water them in one day. Same with your passion and your dreams. So I think that would be something else. I would also say, like, if you're balancing so many different things, having that regulated nervous system, because if you're functioning from this like fight or flight, you're only thinking about survival, and it's really hard to create a passion project. And I know a lot of people say pressure is good, and that's how, seeds blossom. But for me, it's like, I think it's really important to come from a really grounded place. So when you're creating, and definitely like regulating your nervous system, whether you're balancing like work, school, or your passion project, definitely working on your nervous system, working on your health is very, very important, because it will reflect in every other area of your life. And I would say invest, like we invested the time and energy, but also invest financially. Like I think I've invested in coaches. I've invested in like educational programs and reading. I've invested in furthering my education. And I've realized like, I think it's all valuable, like having a coach, having a mentor, having a cheerleader, all important. But and I've also invested in real estate, and I've invested in like stocks and cryptocurrency. And those are all great. And I'm very thankful I was able to learn how to do that. But I would recommend, like, the greatest investment that I've ever made was in my own self. And so it will give you the greatest return, but you have to believe in yourself, because there's nobody else that's going to believe in you more than yourself. So when you share your dreams and passions, like with that one person that will cheer you on when the going gets tough, that would be something else I would recommend, is finding somebody that when you're like really wounded and you want to give up on everything, you want to give up on life because you're seeing the world in black today. Maybe you wake up and everything is doom and gloom. Calling that one person that you told yourself will remind you why you started this passion project, so you don't give up ever.
Wow, you are dropping gym after gym today. We could do this for 10 hours. This is a situation where I have like 1,000 questions, but I know that we would be on here for 12 hours but I really loved a lot of what you just said. So that was for the people that haven't taken action. What about for those that are the business owner, that are the artists, that are, you name it, that are producing their passion? They've been doing it for years. And boy, oh boy, they're feeling burnt out. They're questioning what they're even doing. They're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. What words of wisdom could you share with that crowd?
Sure. So when I watch other people who have walked the path, I feel like they don't say enough that like I've been there too. Like I felt like, I felt the burnout and I felt like there's no hope. But in those moments, that's when we have to just like sit down and be like, this is good. I'm glad I'm feeling this way. This is good. And I love that because I learned that from uh, Kabbalah. So, oh, this is good. I'm glad that I'm right here because I get to see what my next pivot will be. And I think that whenever we're there, that means we're kind of ready for our next phase because we kind of can get comfortable as an entrepreneur or a founder where we're at and be like, oh, this is good. Like I've been living this way, for 4 years. Like, for example, for me, when I was thinking brick and mortar was the pinnacle of my success. So it's like, oh, I got this brick and mortar shop. This is the pinnacle of my success. And if I stopped there and like everything failed, then I would have been like, oh, okay, this is it then for me. That there's no more because I can't have this brick and mortar anymore. So it's being able to start with what we have and where we're at. Because a lot of the times, if we're looking at what other people have, it really just discourages us. So I would say if you're in that moment of like in your suffering of like, oh, I don't know what to do, I'm burnt out, comparing yourself to others and like watching Instagram stories and watching what everyone else is doing is not helpful. What is helpful is finding somebody, like you can even use ChatGPT, finding somebody who has a similar story, story like you, and seeing that they went over that hurdle and flourished after. So for me, that person is Sarah Blakely. I want to I'm ready and excited to have a family one day and kids. And, a lot of the times, like where I'm from, and that's like most of the women have babies in their, early 20s. So I think for me, like seeing her that she started a business, she actually came from Florida State. She self-funded her own business. She had a family. She met her husband at, I think it was 37. Because at one moment I was like, oh, wow, like I'm investing all of this in this creation. I'm helping all these people, but I'm not really investing in my personal life and my family life that I want. So I was like, okay. And so I literally asked myself, at that time I asked Google, I was like, who has this? And, who has this life? And boom, she's the example. So having an example of like, oh, this is possible for me too, I think for me, was really important because then I wasn't like, I'm a failure. Because we can be really hard on ourselves and also like have regrets. So having somebody is step one that can be the example. I would also say like protecting your frequency whenever you are in this place of like, I don't know what to do going forward, is meaning like be careful what you watch, the news, like fear mongering and people that don't necessarily support and see the vision and want to talk you out of everything. Again, have that person that is going to be your cheerleader and support you when the going gets tough. And then also another thing that is really important whenever we're in the doom and gloom phase of the entrepreneurship path, because it's always like this, I would say the bottom of the valley, is remember why you started this. Like sometimes when I'm in the like crunching numbers, because passion is like two sides. One is like the creator side, and then the other side is like the analytical number crunching, like making sure we're meeting all the overheads and everybody can get paid. So I would just say like, especially as a woman or man, you have to balance these two sides. So when we're number crunching, we're like, okay, well, we're not meeting this overhead and everything is not working out. And then that's when you have to remember like, okay, stop. It doesn't matter what the numbers are in this moment. Like, why did I start this? And why is this becoming more about, money or finances versus like the reason why you started it? So the moment you go back to the fire that ignited your heart to start this passion project in the first place, kind of like a child, like why they started it, the more success I've seen in my personal experience to have. Because when I started to worry when things were out of alignment, of course you have to do what you have to do. Like, I'm not saying you have to sit and have wishful thinking, like get another job or do what you need to do if you need to meet the overhead, but never lose sight of like why you started this in the first place. Because if it starts to be more about like, this is my, this is just what brings me money in versus like this is my purpose and mission, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there and like to share the love for it. So like the moment the love, this is coming, we're gonna bring it back. The moment the love is taken out of it, I feel like it won't be as successful as if you inject it with love every single day and keep the love there even when you're at the bottom of the valley. Because it's easy when you're at the top of the valley to remember why you do it, but it's really hard at the bottom of the valley. So just remember it and have like a sheet of paper or a voice note that reminds you of why this is so important for you and why it's so special. And there's this article I recommend everybody reading who's producing a passion. It's called 1000 Superfans. Have you ever read it before?
No, but it reminds me of the book Tribes by Seth Godin. So I'm wondering if it's the same direction.
Yeah, I've never read that, so I might have to. But basically, it's like you, in order to have $1 million business, you just need 1,000 super fans. So therefore, when you simplify it like that, instead of like, I need millions of followers to reach X, Y, and Z, you just think like, I just need 1,000 people to believe in my mission. And whether you do it one day at a time, like let's say 1,000 people, that's almost 3 years. If you do one person a day. So if you do one person a day, that's it. You just need, it would take you 3 years to reach 1,000 people if you focus on one person a day. So when you simplify like that, it makes so much more sense and it feels so much easier.
Yeah, Seth in the book Tribes talks about the 1,000 loyal fans. Like if you're a music artist, you know, those loyal fans are going to go to your concert. They're going to buy your music album. They're going to buy your merchandise. And you're right. You don't need millions and millions of people. You just need those 1,000 people that are all about everything you do. So I have to
Right.
say this.
That's exactly it. So
I was going to say, I think I need, you said, I think I'm going to have to put this on my wall. Do what you have to do to meet the overhead. Because ain't that the truth?
yeah. Yeah. Like get another job, like stay up later because yeah, like nobody else will believe more in your dream than you. And then I would also say like about investors, like it definitely always have a deck ready for your business because you never know when there's like somebody who also wants to believe like share your mission. And when you believe in it so much and you share it with this amount of passion, but with also the analytical backing, which means like, oh, you have all of the decks ready and the paperwork. Always have that prepared because you never know who can be like an investor in your business in the next or over. But again, like I wanted to start this business like Sarah Blakely, and she had a multi-billion-dollar business because she did it on her own. And she started with making her own cardboard boxes for her pantyhose. And same for me. Like I was burning my very first labels. Like look at them now, they're so pretty. But my very first labels, guys, I like was burning them, was making them look ancient, and I had just the paper, and I would put like Mod Podge glue, and I would have all my friends over, and we would like use use a lighter to burn the corners of the paper, and that was my labels. So you gotta do what you gotta do if you have this beautiful mission. So yeah, I think that everything will be funded as long as you believe, you go take action on it, and you're always prepared.
Wow. Well, this has been extraordinary. Like such articulate breakdowns, and I have 1,000 other questions, but we'll have to save it for a part two. But I really appreciate you taking us through your journey and sharing all the nuggets of wisdom and advice. I think people are going to get a lot out of this episode, and we'll get to final words and final thoughts. But before we do, where can people find you? Where can they find your company if they're interested in your skincare products? Where are all the places people can go online to check you and your business out?
Thank you. So yes, you can go on championbymileva.com and you spell it with champion with an E at the end. So you're a champion of your healing. That's why it's called that. So it's not about me doing this. You're the champion. You're the one who's in charge of your healing, of your health, wealth, relationships. You can find me on Instagram. We do post often there at championebymileva.com or champion by Mileva. And then you can go on the website, and on the homepage, you can type in your email and you get the book of healing, which is, it goes into autoimmune, eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, acne, and premature aging, and various other conditions, including hair loss. And that's just a complimentary book to all the viewers here. You can just put your email and get that book. And yeah, you can start using it right away. There's mind, body, and skin practices that you can start using right away. So that's the ways you can find me. And yeah, I'm very thankful to share and to be a support on anybody's journey that's listening here, towards entrepreneurship and towards becoming a founder.
I love it. Well, Violet, thank you so much. Do you have anything else that you wanted to share before we got out of here?
Well, Sam, thanks so much for having me. I love what you're doing. I think it's important for all of us to hear the journeys. And there's somebody that can recognize a piece of their journey in our journey and so forth. So like every time where I've had a difficult time or, wanted more answers, I honestly found it on YouTube, and I found somebody who's experienced a similar journey, and they're seeing their continuation and their success. And it propelled me to continue to go forward. So I love what you're doing. I can't wait to share this and more people share this. And I think that everybody has a beautiful gift to share. And thank you for supporting and checking us out. And also, yeah, I can't wait to spend more time with you and share more parts of this journey. And we're all in this together.
Absolutely. No, I talk a lot about the creative tribe in Produce Your Passion. You need those people, those mastermind groups, if you will, that people that have been through the thick of it, like you have. And a lot of times on entrepreneurial and artistic journeys, we feel like we're alone, like no one can understand. But then that's one of the main purposes of this podcast is so other people can. I like how you said earlier, because I agree, we always hear like the success stories and just, keep thinking positive. You can do it. And I made it. It's like, it's not like that every single day for most people. Like there's days, like you said, you hit the valley points. And when you hear people who have been successful in doing things share the realness and those authentic stories, like, yeah, I had bad days. Like I had days where I was not mentally with it. I think that's important. So I'm glad you brought that up as well, because although it's a gift to be doing the things we're doing, it can be especially mentally challenging place for people. So I appreciate you opening up about that. And I'm really impressed with you and your story. And yeah, I look forward to learning more and would love to continue the conversation.
Thank you so much, Sam. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you for tuning in. To learn more, go to produceyourpassion.com.